Hi everyone. Today, I'm thrilled to analyze a brilliant novel. On the female protagonist's birthday, she finally musters the courage to wear the dress Alex gifted her. But here's the twist as Alex helps her zip it up. Their relationship undergoes a subtle yet palpable shift. This transition from being ordinary friends to potentially having deeper feelings is rife with contradictions and uncertainties, leaving one eager to see how their relationship will unfold. Chapter 12. You remind me of a chipmunk with rabies. The past 2 months had flown by in a whirlwind of new experiences. I had thrown myself into my work, determined to prove my worth and build a life for myself away from the pack. My hard work was paying off. I had excelled at my job, expanded my social circle, and was slowly but surely shedding the weight of my past. As a testament to my newfound independence and frugality, I had managed to save enough money to buy myself a new dress for Christmas. Standing in front of the mirror, I couldn't help but feel a surge of pride as I admired the dark teal fabric that hugged my figure, ending just above my knees. The sleeves fell elegantly to my elbows, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I actually felt good about myself. It wasn't just the dress, it was what it represented: my personal achievement, a symbol of my growing confidence. I was about to adjust the neckline when a knock on the door startled me out of my reverie. Panic flashed through me. I wasn't ready for anyone to see me in this yet. My wolf instincts kicked in, urging me to hide. "Guest, open up." The familiar voice of Alex, my casual and friendly co-worker, floated through the door. Relief washed over me. If anyone could see me like this, it was Alex. He had become a constant presence in my life, his teasing nature helping to draw me out of my shell. I scurried to the door and opened it, watching as Alex strolled in with his usual easy-going demeanor. He placed some papers inside his white desk before flopping down on the bed, sinking into the cushions. When he sat up, his light brown hair was charmingly tousled, and his eyebrows raised in curiosity. "Why, Ray, you dressed up? Nerd?" he asked, a hint of playfulness in his tone. I placed a hand on my hip, channeling a confidence I was still getting used to. "Why, is it a crime to look this good?" I shot back, surprising myself with my boldness. I heard him chuckle softly, the sound warming me more than I cared to admit. Grabbing a random shirt and a pair of tights from my closet, I quickly ducked into the bathroom to change, emerging with the dress carefully draped over my arm. I found Alex rummaging through my closet, his casual demeanor a stark contrast to my earlier self-consciousness. As I watched him, I couldn't help but marvel at how far he'd come and how much further I still had to go on this journey of self-discovery. "What Ray are you looking for?" I asked, leaning against the wall, watching him tear apart my closet, which had finally got around to cleaning yesterday. He grinned like a cat, pulling a pair of worn-out skates that made his green eyes light up. "I promised Lucy I'd take her out skating today. We always used to go as kids too," he explained, smiling at the skates like they were old friends. I smiled to myself. I didn't know much about Alex's childhood, except for the fact that most of it was Lucy. I never really bothered to ask more though, because if I got to ask him about his childhood, then he'd obviously want to know more about mine, which was something I wasn't ready to talk about yet. He began wiping off the skates with a damp paper towel from the bathroom as I folded my dress. It took all of my strength to not ask him if I could tag along too. Truthfully, I'd always wanted to learn how to skate, and I knew that Alex would never say no if I asked him. Yet that meant that it'd just ruin his time with Lucy. They were already on rocky waters, and they needed some time together. Being a constant third wheel sucked, but I felt like that one 5-year-old everyone had to take care of. It would only be a matter of time before they got sick of me as well. So when Alex did come around to asking me if I wanted to come with, I pretended to be really concentrated on fixing the bedsheets. I lied straight through my teeth, claiming that I didn't like skating. Although Alex was one of my really good friends by now, I really didn't have the heart to tell him about me being the third wheel. In fact, that would just make everything more awkward, and I had enough awkward inside of me to last a lifetime. When he left, I looked out the window, watching Lucy and Alex walk outside with their skates dangling in their hands. I wished so bad that I was beside them, happily laughing. A sickening pain shot through my chest and I gripped onto the windowsill for support. Loneliness was painful, but my mate Paul made that feeling physical. I staggered over to the bed and crawled into it. I wouldn't let the wave of sadness wash over me. I missed my mom. I missed my best friend. And maybe, just maybe I missed him. I missed not being alone. Fuck. Someone really just needed to erase my memories already. Spensty. I woke up immediately to the whispered sound in my ear. What time was it? Where was I? It all came back to me when I saw Alex, smiling a crooked grin. He flicked my cheek. Go away. I groaned. You can't just barge into this room whenever you like. I folded myself into a warm blanket cocoon, hoping he would leave me alone. Yes I can. It's my room. Dumbass. He snorted, unraveling the blanket. Come get your coat on if you want to make extra money and spend some quality time with your best friend. At the mention of best friend, I idiotically thought of Amber. I then remembered that Amber and I hadn't spoken in months. Who's my best friend again? I asked, closing my eyes and shrugging the blanket back on. Wow, I am hurt. Alex sighed. I would have rolled my eyes if they weren't closed. Why do you always have to bother me? Go pester someone else. You fucked hard. I cried. I like to bother you because you act and look like a 12-year-old. It's hilarious. Alex replied. Wow, now I'm definitely not coming. I declared. Destiny. I'm joking. Now seriously, get up. I dramatically took my blanket off and as slow as I possibly could. I put my glasses on. Alex stood there, looking at me with his eyebrows raised. I smiled innocently and took my sweet time to find a warm sweater and skinny jeans. Looks like I was right about the acting like a 12-year-old part. He murmured, fixing the bed. That comment made me throw the next thing that came into my hand at his head. He picked it up, his eyes wide, and he threw my bra back at me. You should probably wear that. He sighed. It's not like I need it. I replied. I was 17 but flat as a pancake. Alex shook his head and rolled his eyes. Tell me you're joking, he said, moving around some papers on his desk. I'm not. But don't worry. I'm wearing a huge-ass sweater. It'll be fine. I called out, slipping into the bathroom to freshen up. I came back out with a messy bun, skinny jeans, and yes indeed, my huge-ass sweater. Alex handed me my coat and boots and I slipped them on. Led the way. Broccoli, I demanded while he held the door open for me, walking beside me down the hallway. He furrowed his brows. Did you seriously just call me broccoli back there? He asked. Yep. What does that even have to do with anything? He uttered, running a hand through his unbrushed hair. Well, your eyes are as green as broccoli. And that was the first thing that came to mind. I admitted. So you just like to stare into my eyes then? He smirked. I get it, they're beautiful. Guessed, but stop being such a creep. I elbowed him. Why don't you freaking brush your hair before calling me a creep? I retorted, leaping down the stairs. But of course, he was fast and caught up to me. I swear, you told me just yesterday how nice my natural hair color was. He claimed, dodging past me. I said color, not style. Alex, I yelled back, racing after him. I knocked him to the side as we reached the ground and he barely even tumbled. How the hell are you so hyper? You were literally dead in your blanket 10 minutes ago. Right now, though, you remind me of a chipmunk with rabies. Alex sighed, with his hands tucked in his long black coat. We pushed through the back. Remember how I'm at 12-year-old? I joked. He smiled, two dimples appearing on either side his cheeks. Follow me, he said as we made our way outside and onto the frosty ground. My mouth hung open when I saw a mesmerizing pickup truck. Shiny, without a single scratch. But the thing that I loved the most about it was its straight yellow color that stood out against the white scenery. Back off. Just mine. Alex remarked, dusting snow off the windows. I snickered. What a geek. Does she have a dorky name like Daphne or something? EW, laughed Alex, pulling out a pair of keys from his pocket. He jingled them around and I leapt for them. But that idiot raised them higher so I couldn't reach. I was either too sure this guy was unnaturally tall. I decided it was the latter. You're such an elf. He chuckled, walking to the driver's side. I quickly formed a snowball with the hard snow on the ground and chucked it at him. He abruptly stopped walking when it hit his shoulder. Oh shit. Thank God I'm a mature 20-year-old and not a 12-year-old. He called out, hopping into his seat, starting the engine of the truck. I opened the door and sat in shotgun. The inside was no surprise, super clean and smelled subtly like Alex himself, fresh mint, soap, and a hint of vanilla. It was just like his room and I instantly felt more comfortable, allowing myself to sink into the plush leather seat. I swear to God, guest, if you fall asleep in my car and drool all over it, I will not hesitate to leave you out in the snow, Alex warned, flipping through pages on a clipboard. I protested, sitting up straighter. I don't drool, putting the clipboard between us. He turned to face me, his green eyes dead serious. You sure about that, fetus? He began. You drooled when you fell asleep in the train when I first met you. You drool when I pick up my stuff from my room in the morning. All over my pillow. Okay, shut up. That's only because you stalk me. Weirdo. I claimed, feeling my face burning. I'm a weirdo for offering you a place to stay when you got kicked out of your old pack. Theft tea. Whatever you say, elf. I became stiff. I didn't like to think about the day I got kicked out of my pack. The day that I finally decided to fight back to Dom, which only ended up causing me so much trouble. Alex didn't even fully know the reason of why I got kicked out of my pack. What if he got curious and wanted to know more? Would he ever look at me the same way again? I finally started to feel accepted by everyone in this place. I was about to say something quickly to change the subject, but Alex noticed my mouth about to open and placed a hand on my head. Whatever you're about to say, save it for later, cause we really need to get to work before the alpha kills me. I nodded, eager to talk about something else. I did pay attention though, when he explained the whole delivery system and how it'd be driving around to other packs and delivering resources. The truck was full with huge containers full of our fresh water, which would be traded off-sun. It seemed like a pretty chill job, and definitely way more appealing than sitting in a cramped-up office for 6 hours a day. The first few minutes of driving, I was silent even though Alex was 20 years old. I didn't know if he'd be concentrated enough to drive on icy roads, but I noticed how well he drove and realized he was probably used to the harsh weather conditions. So, not that I don't want to be here or anything, but why do you need my help? You're literally just driving around and delivering water. I questioned. His moss-colored eyes were focused on the road ahead as he spoke. Aside from the fact that I'm a very considerate fellow and noticed you could use some more money. I rolled my eyes and continued. It's so much easier for me to deliver these while you go through the paperwork, since you're surprisingly good at it. Also, this job gets quite boring, so it would be nice to have some company. I nodded, but thought about whether Alex really had any other friends. He was a humorous, friendly, helpful, and not to mention sarcastic person. It was strange that he never really hung out with too many people. Maybe he doesn't stick with huge crowds like you. Idiot. Snapped a voice in my mind. I sighed. It was right. I couldn't judge him. Similar to how he didn't judge me. I decided that I liked this job. Just driving around, talking with Alex, filling out paperwork. Even though it was early in the morning, I'd hopefully get used to it. At the next red light, he pulled out his iPhone and an O cord, shuffling through his playlist. Oh, what if he liked country music? I thought. I hated country music with a passion. I was mentally preparing my ears for the worst type of music, but instantly opened my eyes in surprise when I heard Jacob Hoggard's voice. You listen to Headley. I yelped, staring at him wide-eyed. Yeah, And I don't care if you don't like them because this is my car and my accord. He muttered. Are you kidding? I love them. I exclaimed. Good. He smiled. A minute later, we were both yelling the lyrics to Man Killer at the top of our lungs, ignoring the people in the cars next to us, giving us weird looks. I was shocked and sort of jealous of how melodic and nice Alex's voice was, even when yelling wildly. When we reached the first stop, we were grinning like Cheshire cats. This was going to be a fun job. Chapter 13. High five her face with a stapler. My eyes fluttered open as the silver clock read 7:47 am. I yawned. Ever since I began working with Alex for deliveries a couple weeks ago, it began waking up earlier, even when I didn't have work. Besides, the water was much hotter in the morning. I was about to snuggle back into my thick blanket to give myself a bit more time to sleep, but I remembered that the twins and I were going to go Christmas shopping at 9:30. That left me plenty of time to shower, get ready, and have a nice big breakfast. After making the bed and putting on my glasses, I took a warm shower and struggled to get out of it. Living in this cold weather was one thing that I'd probably never get used to. I found a graphic sweatshirt with a rabbit chrome Mickey Mouse on it, and a pair of black jeans. I quickly braided my auburn hair and applied some nice red lipstick. Makeup normally wasn't an everyday thing for me, but hell, I'd wear red lipstick for the sake of the holidays. Slipping on my coat and boots and grabbing my small gray wallet, I locked the turquoise door. But right when I stepped into the hallway, I bumped into Fox. Destiny. Hey, he beamed. One thing I loved about Fox was his ability to make anyone smile with his contagious energy. I smiled back as we walked to the massive stairwell. Cha-cha up to? I asked. Well, I have to mail these Christmas cards to my family. He replied, showing me the huge stack in his hand. How about you? Since I'm the biggest procrastinator ever and Christmas is like 5 days away, I'm going to the mall to buy some gifts. I answered. Will you be getting me anything? You'll find out. I laughed. We made it downstairs and I was about to say bye to him, when he stopped me. He let out a breath and ran a hand through his white blonde hair. Destiny. I don't know if you've ever been skating before, but I was wondering if you do want to go with me sometime. He asked, looking down at his Timberland shoes. I smiled even more. Skating sounded amazing, especially with Fox. But did he mean as a date? I highly doubted it. I blinked. You don't have to come through. I was asking. He quickly added in when he noticed that I hadn't said anything. Fox, skating sounds wonderful. But I began, my heartbeat beginning to speed up. Do you mean as a no? I couldn't just say it. Why would someone like Fox want to go on a date with me? A date? He filled in, and I swear his blue eyes had gotten brighter if that was even possible. He laughed. Yes, sunshine. A date? Holy shit. The freaking gamma of the pack was asking me out on a date. How could I possibly say no? Oh, of course. I gushed. I mean, sure, yeah. Why was I so goddamn awkward? He laughed again. I'm glad to hear that. I was hoping to take you on Christmas Eve. After dinner, he suggested. I nodded. All right. See you later. Sunshine. And he was off. I couldn't believe it though. Someone actually liked me. And skating for a first date was so cute. But I couldn't skate though. What would he think of my clumsiness? What if I embarrassed him and he stopped liking me? I knew that if I tried, it'd look like a donkey with a pair of skates on. Stop overthinking and get out of the way. A voice called out behind me. I yelped and moved to the side, remembering I was still in front of the stairs. Alex roared with laughter, but I was way too happy to even care. Why the hell are you so happy this early in the morning? He questioned, with his uniform in his hand. I got asked out on a date by Fox. I whispered excitedly. As we walked into the kitchen, Alex smiled and patted my head. Dest, I always knew he was into you, he said, sipping into one of the stools beside me in front of the massive table. What? "You're kidding," I exclaimed. Was I that oblivious? He chuckled, shaking his head. "Clueless little destiny," he murmured. I whacked his arm. "Shut up. You act like you're 10 years older than me." "I'm not little, you dumbass," I retorted. He turned to face me, his green eyes dancing with amusement. "You're only 17, still a kid." "Dest. Besides, I'm an adult," he said, emphasizing the word adult. I rolled my eyes. "By only 3 years." He stuck his tongue out at me and then proceeded to talk to one of the breakfast chefs. "What an idiot. He'll have a black coffee and a croissant." "Please and thanks," he said. I furrowed my brows. "Is that all you're eating for breakfast?" "Geez, Alex, you really need to eat more. No wonder your brain doesn't even work half of the time," I cried. He ignored my comment and proceeded to take a sip of his steaming hot coffee as if he didn't hear me. The chef waddled up to me. "Hello, Vettel Witch, hello. Destiny, what you like today?" "Sweet pea," she chirped in her Australian accent. Chef Alice was a plum woman who was always playfully teasing the younger children, and me. I liked her. "I'll have a cheese omelet with mushrooms, tomatoes, cilantro, onion, and mint, along with some orange juice and a side of pancakes, please," I said. Alex set down his coffee and stared at me wide-eyed. "Holy mother of fuck, you eat a lot for your size," he remarked, running a hand through his golden brown hair. "For my size, it's called a fast metabolism, Alex," I snorted, digging into the fresh omelette in front of me minutes later. He continued to stare at me as if I was an alien and then got up. He popped the last piece of his croissant into his mouth. "I gotta go now. I'll catch you later, Dest," he said, giving me a dimpled smile and then ruffling my hair, as I moved on to my pancakes. "Bye," I replied, with my mouth full. He rolled his eyes and then strolled off, hands in his pockets. As I gulped down my orange juice, I heard laughter behind me and smiled when I saw Rosalind and Rory. Rosalind was looking graceful as ever with her brown hair tied up in a neat bun and a light peach lipstick on her lips. Rory, on the other hand, had effortlessly swiped her hair into a ponytail, had some killer sharp eyeliner across her eyes, and sported an Adidas jacket. The twins always looked good everywhere at any time. "Destiny, my girl," Rory yelled, throwing an arm around my shoulder. "Ready to go?" "Yeah, of course," I replied, grinning at them both. "Come on, you two. The mall's closing at 5, and we have a lot of shopping to do," Rosalind announced, dangling a pair of keys in her manicured hand. We all had split up and agreed to meet at the food court for lunch. So far, it found the perfect gift for Rosalind. It was a thick lavender notebook filled with intricate cream-colored pages. Its cover was embellished with a beautiful gold design. I knew she loved writing poetry, and this notebook screamed Rosalind. Aside from that, I spotted a really beautiful wine-colored lipstick for her at Sephora. Even though it was quite pricey, the moment I saw it, I knew it was meant for her. For Rory, I found a killer leather jacket that would look amazing on her. I also found a really nice hockey stick for her as it heard complaining about her worn-out one. I got one for Fox too, as it watched him play hockey on many occasions. When I stopped at Bath and Body Works, I had to stop myself from buying a shitload of hand sanitizers and mini lotions. Instead, I picked up a box filled with lotions, body scrubs, and soaps, and my favorite scent for the Luna, after finding a really nice necklace and pair of skates for Lucy, and a few goodies for Molly, Kevin, and the others. I had one person left, Alex. Outside of Indigo, I inhaled the smell of new books and wandered aimlessly through the aisles. Even though there were people everywhere for Christmas shopping, it felt like I was the only person there, just me and the books. I trailed my fingers along the spines of the books and wished I could buy them all. I considered buying a book for Alex, but there were too many good ones to choose from. In the end, I bought him an Indigo gift card and a Ravenskull scarf. I didn't know if it was enough though. He had done so much for me and was my best friend. I wanted to get him something special. As I left Indigo with my bags in my hand ready to go to the food court, I stopped in front of a store suddenly. Through the window was a breathtaking decorative glass rain on display. It seemed to be the only one there, and it was calling my name. I strolled into the store, pushed past people thanks to my small size, and managed to grab a hold of it. It was delicate, fragile, but captivating. It reminded me of the first day it met Alex and how we went on the train to my new life. I cringed when I saw the length of the line. It would take at least 20 minutes to get to the cashier, but I just had to get it. So as I stood in line, I couldn't help but grin excitedly. This glassed rain would be a perfect memoir to the start of our strong friendship. After an endless 28 minutes of standing in line and dealing with rude customers, I finally paid for the train and speed walked out of the store. Clutching the bag carefully, I dashed to the food court through crowds and Christmas trees, hoping the twins weren't freaking out. But I sighed in relief when I saw them happily chatting at a table. I walked over and sat down. "There you are, girl," Rory exclaimed, pulling out a chair for me to put all of my bags down. I let out a long breath. Those got annoying to carry around after a while. "Wow, looks like you got your shopping done." Rosalind smiled. "Anyways, we didn't want to order without you. Sorry guys, you should have just ordered. I'm starving. I could literally eat anything." I apologized. Although I felt bad for making them wait, I knew Alex's gift was worth it. "No, it's okay. In fact, we were just arguing over whether we should get poutine or burritos," Rory explained. My stomach grumbled. Any form of food sounded delightful, but my heart was leaning towards poutine. Who could ever resist hot fries with melted cheese curds and gravy on it? "Poutine it is," I answered. Rory leapt up in victory. "Ha, Rose," she yelped. Rosalind rolled her eyes, and then looked around at the people staring, clearly embarrassed by her twin. I just sat there, snickering. "Hurry up before I die," I groaned. Rory wiggled her eyebrows at Rosalind and then scampered away. Rosalind smoothed and the edges of her neat and perfect bun. "She's such a pain in the ass." Rosalind sighed, but a smile appeared on her face. "But I guess that's why I love her. I swear, when she finds her mate, he better treat her right." My stomach churned, and not because of hunger this time. But who am I kidding? Though, mates are here so we don't have to suffer through heartbreak. She laughed, and in that very moment, I wanted to high-five her face with a stapler. What the hell did she know about mates? Did she really think that having a mate was all sunshine and rainbows? That no one got heartbroken? I took a deep breath, remembering that she didn't know. Like most mateless wolves out there, they were always taught to believe that your mate was going to be perfect and you were going to have a great life and all that rat shit. Hell, is hell. Even I believed that. I shuddered, remembering me over 2 years ago, swooning over the idea of Dominic and I. And then reality hit me like a truck. Abruptly, a hand fluttered over my face. "Hello, Earth to Destiny," called out Rory. I blushed. I had totally zoned out, but my eyes flitted over to the plates of fresh poutine that were right in front of us. Wordlessly, I grabbed my fork and dug in. Food was the best cure for anything. Chapter 14. My wife just looks like a fetus for her age. It was the 23rd of December, 11:58 p.m., and I was frantically wrapping the last couple of gifts. I still didn't understand to this day of why I was such a huge procrastinator. I didn't even flinch when the door creaked open and Alex strolled in, with a steaming cup of coffee in his slender hands. He perched himself on the edge of my bed and wordlessly watched me. He was clearly amused by the mess sprawled all around me, from the cut-up wrapping paper, to the random ribbons, to a hell lot of scotch tape. I glared at him. Was this idiot just going to sit here and watch me struggle? "Pass me some." I reached my arm toward his coffee, yet he pulled it away. "I don't think you like it 'cause it doesn't have 18 spoons of sugar in it." "Guessed," Alex retorted. He slowly took another sip to irritate me in more. Hey idiot. I don't put that much sugar in my coffee. And right now, I don't care if it's your nasty-ass black coffee. Just please pass me some. I demanded. Alex rolled his eyes but eventually gave me the warm mug. I leaned my back against the bed and savored the hot yet bitter coffee against my throat. But the moment was gone all too fast when he took the cup back. Hey. I protested, getting up to reach back for it. Alex, though, placed a hand firmly on my head and began talking to me as if I was a child. Go to sleep. Nerd. It's way past your bedtime. He chuckled. I had to resist the urge to take the coffee and dump it all on his innocent face. I'm almost done wrapping this last present. Now shut the hell up and go away. I sighed. He ignored my comment and proceeded to lean back comfortably on the headboard of the bed and sip his coffee. Once the last present was finally wrapped after what seemed like an eternity, I stuck it in my closet with the rest of the other presents. I didn't have the effort to clean up my mess though. I was exhausted. You know, you could have just taken a day off from deliveries today and I would have gone by myself, Alex said, watching me yawn. Now that I thought about it, I really did regret waking up at 6 a.m. to do deliveries with this dumbass in the morning. Alex got off the bed and then proceeded to put things away. Go away, I mumbled sleepily, taking off my glasses and placing them on the nightstand. I didn't think he heard though, as he finished cleaning up and then left. Did this guy ever sleep? Nah, his veins were probably full of black coffee. As I nestled in my bed, I remembered that I had a date with Fox tomorrow. With that thought in mind, I fell asleep instantly despite that one sip of coffee. The pack house was full and bustling on the busy Christmas Eve day. People in the kitchen were quickly making last-minute adjustments to the assortment of meals and desserts, while others were sending off mail and gifts to their loved ones. The older chefs were preparing tonight's special dinner, in which the whole pack would attend. There was a special reserved dinner hall in the mansion with a long table that could easily fit all of us. I was shocked when I'd first seen it. After breakfast and helping Alex clean his car, the twins asked me to help them pick outfits for tonight. They were going to some family get-together and needed the perfect outfit, even though they both looked stunning in every dress. It took a while to find the best one, but when I was done, I finally had some time to myself. I ran up to the 3rd floor, downright exhausted. I managed to wave a quick hello to Lucy on the way to my room and then collapsed in the bed. I checked the time and almost yelped when it read 438. Damn it. Time flew by. As I shoved past items in my closet looking for my new dress, I thought of how nice it would have been to spend Christmas with your mate. It would have been sweet snuggling near the fireplace, watching lame Christmas movies on TV, or just kissing under the mistletoe. Sometimes I hated myself for being such a hopeless romantic. When my hand came across the soft fabric, I pulled out the dress, along with some knit tights and leather flats. I finally found the pair of pearl earrings that Arizona had given me when it turned 13 years old. After taking a quick shower and drying my hair, I slipped on the dress but struggled to zip up the back. After a painful and long 6 minutes, I managed to zip it up and then pull up my tights and place my flats on my feet. I swept my hair up into a graceful but messy bun, and as much as I wanted to take my glasses off, I was going skating and I needed them more than ever. I was already clumsy enough with them. Quickly putting on some makeup, I looked at my reflection in the standing mirror and smiled. I looked simple yet elegant. Not amazingly beautiful like the twins or Lucy, but better than my plain self. I liked it. When I left the room and closed the door, I ran into Fox once again. He looked really good in button-down shirt with his hair styled nicely. He looked at me up and down and I tried not to blush. Well, you look great. Death, he exclaimed. Lord Alowit, Lord. I was smiling like crazy. Thanks, you look really handsome as well, I replied. And with that, he slipped his hand into mine and we went downstairs. I smiled the whole way through as Fox chatted with me. We made it to the long dinner table where most of the pack was already seated, looking festive and attractive. I still couldn't believe I was actually a part of this huge family. Fox sat down in the chair next to me, and on my left sat Rosalind and Rory, looking gorgeous. Alex finally came in wearing a hideous knitted sweater, probably from his grandmother just to make her happy. As he sat down, his eyes flitted over to Fox's hand on mine and he winked at me. I rolled my eyes but smiled cheekily at him. The chair next to him was empty, but Lucy strolled over, looking amazing. Her blue hair was resting at her shoulders in loose and graceful curls. She didn't look happy, though. I smiled at her and I couldn't help but notice the way she plastered on a fake smile so quickly. She murmured a quick hello to Alex and then turned to talk to Rory. Alex lowered his eyes down to his plate, and a wave of sadness swept over me for both of them. I could tell that they'd been fighting again, and I bet the fact that Alex sharing a room with her because of me wasn't making it any easier. They had both done so much for me. I really had to find a way to get my own room. It would be hard though, since there was a shortage of rooms and too many pack members. We all suddenly sat up a bit straighter when the powerful aura engulfed us as the Alpha and Luna entered, with their daughter Kate. The young girl shared her father's strong golden eyes and her mother's fiery red hair. Alpha Jace was smiling more than usual as he took a seat at the end of the table beside his wife. Kate smiled shyly at the many pack members as her thick eyelashes swept across her toddler face. We all stayed silent and waited for Alpha Jace to speak. As we all know, it's an annual Arctic Lights tradition to announce special news every year. He began. I knitted my eyebrows. Fox leaned in to whisper to me. Last year the news was that they'd be renovating and extending the mansion. It's different each year. I nodded. I glanced down and noticed that his hand was still cupped over mine and silently cheered. This year, we are beyond delighted to announce that, Alpha J said, grinning at Luna Arcadia and then expectantly at Kate. Kate jumped up and yelled, "Mommy's having another baby." There was a loud array of gasps and cheering. We all clapped and congratulated the couple. I sighed in happiness. Alpha Jace and Luna Arcadia were a great couple, and the thought of them extending their family put a smile on my face. "Ah, I love babies," Rosalind declared, and I nodded in agreement. Baby pups were the cutest things ever. "Now let the dinner begin," Alpha Jace announced. We all dug in at the hot plates of food before us. We were all happy from the news and just in the spirit of the holidays. Even Alex and Lucy's moods seemed much better than before. After filling ourselves up with delicious dinner and then somehow fitting in dessert as well, Fox leaned over and suggested that we leave for our date. I nodded as my heart did somersaults. We got up and said goodbye to our friends. The twins excitedly wished me good luck. Before we left, I personally congratulated the Alpha and Luna and pecked Kate on the cheek. "Finally, some time with you," Fox grinned as we shrugged our coats on. I still couldn't fathom the idea that this boy wanted to take me out. I shivered as we made it to the outdoor skating rink. The frigid air was bad, but luckily it was snowing tonight. I laced up a pair of skates next to Fox on a frosty bench. They felt weird, but Fox promised that I'd get used to them. He was already on the ice, eagerly waiting for me to join him. "Fox, I can't skate," I sighed, holding his warm hand and standing up, shaking. He laughed. "You've told me that for the 100th time tonight, and I'm not giving up. Come on, it's an order from the Gamma," he said. I rolled my eyes but gripped his hand and he smiled at me, which gave me a boost of confidence. He held my other hand and glided me along the ice. It was fun, but I was no professional. Nevertheless, we had a great time, laughing, sharing hilarious stories, and watching me fall. This went on for a good hour or so. The moon was out tonight, surrounded by a canvas of bright stars, and I couldn't think of a more ideal place for a first date. The moonlight made Fox's light blonde tresses shimmer and his deep blue eyes shine. I tried not to embarrass myself in front of him and acted as normal as I could, making sure not to make any lame jokes. It was hard, but I really didn't want to weird him out. "Destiny, you'll go get us something to drink," he said to me. He skated off fast to a hot chocolate stand as I sat down on a bench, not quite ready to skate without his help yet. For a few minutes, I people watched. I noticed that there were a lot of people from my pack there, skating and enjoying themselves. After a couple minutes, I squinted at the stand. What was taking him so long? There didn't seem to be a line. And then I saw her, a tall girl, with long legs, an athletic build, and shining black hair that brought out slive eyelids. She looked like she was designed to walk next to Fox, the Gamma-S girl, powerful and extraordinary. My eyes trailed over to Fox, who looked somewhat dazed, mesmerized, yet also sad. I watched them embrace each other in a hug as if they hadn't seen each other in a long time. I watched the way she fit perfectly into his muscular arms and the way he held on to her. But when their lips met, my own began to quiver. My head began to spin as they drank each other in. They retracted from their embrace, and after the girl squeezed Fox's hand, she skated away. He stood there, quiet for a minute, and then hesitantly skated all the way back to my bench. I tried so hard to keep the hurt away from my face. Destiny. I don't know what to say. She just. Fox stuttered. The Gamma was at a loss for words. I grabbed his hand and sat him down on the bench next to me and looked into his eyes. Understandably. Hey, it's okay. Shess your mate. Right? I asked. He nodded wordlessly. I really wanted to make this a perfect night for us. But after seeing Vivian after years, I just fell in love with her all over again. I filled in, knowing the feeling all too well. I saw the way his eyes changed when he spoke her name. Destiny, how are you so calm about this? Fox said quietly, breaking eye contact and looking down, obviously ashamed. I swallowed, because honestly, if it were my mate, then I would have done the same thing. I softly admitted, wishing Dominic would magically appear and kiss me too. My wolf yearned for that as much as I secretly did. I yearned to kiss his traitorous lips in this winter wonderland. It was hard to let go of feelings no matter how hard I tried. Go after her. Fox, I whispered. He'd have in for a hug, and I held on to him for a few seconds, pretending that he was mine. I was so pathetically alone. He stood up and I could tell how badly he wanted to go back to Vivian. But he looked back at me. I shook my head and gave him a smile. And he glided off. When I couldn't see them anymore, I let the tears fall. Looks like the universe was still against me. I would always be the backup person. Never good enough to be someone's first choice. Well, that was the most amazing thing I saw tonight. A voice said behind me. I ignored it. Fuck. Dest. Don't cry. You were so brave. Alex reassured me, filling up the empty spot on the bench. Why are you even here? I said, in a harsh tone. I really wanted to wither away in my loneliness and never talk to anyone again. Because I wanted to skate. He replied sarcastically. I didn't reply. I was so angry but sad and baffled at the same time, if that was even possible. Alex's mature green eyes softened. I should have taken you skating with me and Lucy the other night. I saw how much fun you were having with Fox, and damn it, you should have just came with us. Alex sighed. Stop trying to make everyone happy. Guessed, you forget about yourself sometimes. As much as I didn't want to admit it. Alex was right. I wiped away my tears with the back of my sleeve and took a shaky breath of the cold, crisp air. And honestly, you suck at skating. So come, let me teach you. Alex said, standing up. I was about to object but thought, fuck it, why not? Led the way. Nerd, I said, entwining my hand into his slender fingers. He led me onto the ice. You're already really clumsy, but just be confident and follow me. Okay, he said, and I listened to his steady, composed voice. I nodded. Instead of taking both of my hands, Alex placed one around my waist and gracefully glided across the ice as I held on to him. Use your legs more, he commanded. I skated a bit on my own and he let go one of his hands. And surprisingly, I didn't fall. He kept his other hand on my waist and we danced across the ice. He eventually let go of me and I skated around, laughing. He buzzed past me effortlessly and then chuckled when I finally fell. He helped me up and we skated even longer, like we had all of the time in the whole world. We later undid our skates and returned them to the lady at the stand, who eyed Alex and I, probably questioning what this tall guy was doing with a short loser like me. "Honey, this better not be your boyfriend. You're way too young," she sneered, turning towards Alex. "Young man, you're not forcing her to do anything." "Excuse me, we're married." I jumped in. Alex looked like he was holding in a laugh. "Yeah, we got married 4 years ago. My wife just looks like a fetus for her age. Isn't that right, honey?" Alex added, placing a hand around my shoulder. I smiled sweetly at him, but I stomped on his foot hard, and grinned when he winced. The lady pursed her lips. "I'm sorry. I thought you were kids," she clucked. We walked off, and once we were out of earshot we burst out in uncontrollable laughter. "God damn it. People need to mind their own business," I cried. "Young man, you better not be forcing her to do anything." Alex mimicked the lady. I laughed. I spotted his yellow pickup truck and ran over, sitting in shotgun. Alex started the truck. I glanced at the time, which read 11:35 p.m. Shit. We should get going before Alpha J Spot says out, I suggest. "Nah, he doesn't care about curfews on Christmas night," Alex explained. He started backing out of the parking lot, but he was heading home. "Nice sweater, honey," I smirked, remembering the knitted hat he gave me from his dead grandmother when we first met. "Okay, it was from my grandmother this time," Alex snorted. "It was from my great-aunt." I laughed. As we drove silently for a few minutes, I thought about Fox and how happy he must have been that he found his mate on Christmas Eve. What an exhilarating Christmas present. I pulled out the cord in his iPhone from his coat pocket and shuffled through his music. I found the song Lost in Translation by Headley and began to yell along to the lyrics. Alex began singing too, showing off his perfect voice. We continued to sing along to more songs until he parked his car in front of a 24-hour IHOP. We made our way inside, the only customers there. Alex ordered his black coffee and a stack of strawberry pancakes while I feasted on a stack of chocolate chip pancakes. It was literal heaven. I stole some sips from Alex's coffee, and he complained about how I'd always drink it. "I thought you hated black coffee," Alex muttered, shaking his head, watching me gulp down the last few drops. "Well, I need to stay awake somehow, and it's a bit more enjoyable knowing that I'm annoying you," I said. Alex elbowed me and raised his eyebrows as he checked his watch. "Spence," he whispered in my ear. I nudged him. "What do you want?" "Merry Christmas." Guessed. It was midnight and I was exchanging presents with Dominic under a fuzzy blanket. No, I was in an IHOP, drinking black coffee next to a 20-year-old who was my husband. I was already enjoying the first few moments of my first Christmas away from home. Chapter 15, Alex. "What the flying fuck are you doing?" We came home that night, buzzing with energy from the sugary pancakes and coffee. I was about to take Alex upstairs to give him his present, but then I remembered he was Dominic, and I knew that it made me an awful person to compare everyone and everything back to Dom. The inner wolf inside of me just couldn't seem to let him go. It just felt wrong to share our tradition with someone else, aside from the fact that it would never really be the same. It would just make me feel guilty and that I was already replacing him. Technically, though, he was the one who rejected me, yet he still had this unthinkable control over me, even hundreds of miles away. I hated myself for being so weak. Hell. He had probably already replaced me with some other girl by now. He wasn't that innocent angel anymore. The thought sent an unwelcome pang of pain through me, and I felt stupid. Yet instead of gathering the courage to invite Alex upstairs to share the first few minutes of Christmas with me, I thanked him for the night and then we parted ways. It's not too late to run back. A voice in my head whispered. It was easy, actually, to run back down the stairs and find Alex. But I think HED had enough of me for a while. Was I too clingy? God, he had to babysit me all the time anyways. He could have been out celebrating with his friends. But no, he stopped a 17-year-old girl from crying and bought her pancakes. I should just leave him alone. I sighed and opened the turquoise door, allowing myself to be engulfed by his comforting scent. After stripping off my dress, scrubbing the makeup off my face, and undoing my hair, I was nestled in the bed. I was in a pair of horrendous pajama pants with gingerbread men all over them, paired with a gray shirt. I was exhausted, but my thoughts reached me before sleep did. I begun to think about Amber, celebrating Christmas with her mate, and waking him up tomorrow at 6 a.m. instead of me. I thought about Arizona giving a thoughtful handmade gift to someone else instead of me this year. I thought of Dom, locking lips with a girl under the mistletoe. But worst of all, I thought about my parents, the people I hadn't thought about in a long time. Did my mom ever come back to the pack house only to discover I was there? I doubted it. I somehow managed to smile, though, remembering how one lucky man found his mate tonight. At least Fox would be genuinely happy. I wondered if Fox's gorgeously intimidating mate would move in with our pack. Since Fox was a gamma, I turned out to be right that morning. When I came downstairs trudging down in my ugly pajamas with all of my gifts in my hands, I spotted Vivian nuzzled up on the couch next to Fox, who had his arm lazily draped around her. Oh no. I was already an awkward third wheel between the twins, Alex, Alec, and Lucy, and I didn't want to be another one this morning. I was about to inch away slowly when Chef Alice spotted me. Oi, Destiny, I made you some gingerbread pancakes to match your pants. Love, she hollered out. I smiled sheepishly and set my presents down, taking a seat on the tall stool by the large table. Unfortunately, Fox saw me as well and sat up from his cozy position with Vivian, who glared at me with icy violet eyes. If she saw me as a threat to her man, she was wrong. I didn't think she realized the loving way he looked at her. Besides, I was a tall and beautiful girl with curves in the right places. I was just an average high-tech nerd who was a little too flat. Destiny, Fox yelped, crushing me in a massive hug unexpectedly. Merry Christmas. I laughed uneasily, trying to ignore Vivian, who was staring daggers at me. I sighed in relief when I saw the twins approaching. Merry Christmas, losers, Rory yelled, giving me a change to hug her instead. Rosalind pulled in for a hug too, but stopped when she saw Vivian. She furrowed her brows. Oh, Vivian, I didn't know you were back. Merry Christmas, Rosalind chirped, obviously confused and baffled. It's quite nice to be back, Vivian replied coolly, strolling up next to Fox and leaning against him. Her eyes momentarily flitted to me, but it seems like I've been replaced. It's not much, though, she smirked. My eyes widened. An uncomfortable silence crept into the room, and although Fox was taken aback by what she'd just said, but one look from her was all it took for the gamma to hold her close. Rosalind blinked, her mouth slightly parted open, and Rory looked appalled. I swallowed. The way I felt reminded me of how I used to feel at my old pack, an unwanted outcast. I couldn't believe she actually said, though. I didn't even do anything to her. I could have kissed Fox yesterday and broke her non-existent heart, but I was at least a decent person and backed off. What was her problem? I blinked a few times and then cleared my throat through the thick tension. I haven't seen Alex yet. I'll go find him. I stuttered. I awkwardly backed out of the room, and then ran up the stairs when out of sight. Once I was in the middle of the massive stairwell, I let myself breathe. I shouldn't let a bitch like her get to me. I scurried to the second floor, up to Lucy's room and knocked on her door. She opened the door and she grinned. Merry Christmas. Death. Come on in, she said. You too, Lucy. But actually, we were exchanging presents downstairs and were just waiting for you and Alex to join us, I explained. To my surprise, she rolled her eyes. Okay, Alex and I aren't going to be together all the damn time, she huffed. I stood there, startled. but her blue eyes softened. Sorry, he is working a shift at the coffee shop, she answered. I nodded, thanked her, and then left, pulling out my phone as fast as possible. Dialing his number. Hi, welcome to the Arctic. Oh shit, this is my cell phone, Alex muttered when he answered. I tried my best to stifle my laugh. Hi, sir. You'll have an extra large black coffee and a stack of strawberry pancakes to go, please, I exclaimed. You're lucky I'm on my break. Dest? Alex sighed. I then remembered why I'd called him in the first place. Alex, what the flying fuck are you doing at the goddamned coffee shop on Christmas? I demanded. What is with you and the words flying fuck? He chuckled. Why did he never take anything I said seriously? Alex. I'm serious. I yelped. Okay, well, since many people don't want to work on Christmas. It's only Jake, Ahmed, and I at the shop. Plus, they'll be getting a hell lot of extra money, and I kinda need it. Alex explained. I've been here since 6. They'll be back in an hour. Fetus. And with that, he ended the call. He was working there voluntarily because there was a shortage of employees, and he said I'm the one who needed to stop trying to make everyone happy. What an idiot. As I went back downstairs, Vivian was absent to my relief, after we all exchanged our presents, and I left Alex on the table. Rosalind and Rory pulled me aside. Okay, we didn't know what exactly to get you, Rosalind admitted, tucking a long strand of hair behind her ear. We know you're a huge bookworm, but you own so many books, didn't you? Anyways, we hope you like the present we're about to give you, 'cause it took a lot of convincing to the alpha. And we know how tedious it is to run from your 3rd floor bedroom all the way downstairs 24/7. Rory piped up. And this is half of our present to Alex too, but we finally got you your own real room. It gets better though. It's right next to ours on the 1st floor. Rosalind squealed. It may not be as big as Alex's room, but... I didn't let her finish her sentence and gave them both a huge hug. I was beyond elated. I can't believe you two. Thank you so much. I gushed. My room is so freaking close to the kitchen. Now I can have as many midnight snacks as I want. They laughed simultaneously. Vampire Deception by Drake Mason and E.Y. Dwett. As an undocumented changeling and forced to pose as a low-level witch. We thought it was a lame gift, but we knew how hard it was for you and Alex. Rory breathed in relief. I didn't know what to say. The twins' endless kindness made up for the sour start to my morning. Rory ruffled my hair and Rosalind smiled earnestly. Okay, now we really gotta go catch the train, Rory said. Our mom's side of the family celebrates Kwanzaa, so we'll be staying at her place for a week or so. Have a happy new year, Destiny, Rosalind explained. Oh, happy Kwanzaa to you guys, I replied, with a smile. Thanks, girl, but wish me luck. These family reunions can get crazy. Rory laughed. I waved goodbye to them and they left. After a few moments, an idea struck my head. I had 47 minutes but not a lot of possessions. I could probably squeeze in an extra Christmas gift for Alex. Something he'd really appreciate when he would come back. The room looked exactly like it did when I first had came here. A feeling of nostalgia washed over me. I was about to close the empty closet when I caught sight of a shimmering deep purple fabric in the back that I hadn't seen before. I pulled it out and gaped at it. It was a magnificent short strapless dress that had loose ruffles from the waist and ended by the thighs. The dress was a purple to black OMBR, and as I shifted the dress slightly, it shimmered. It was the most beautiful dress I had ever seen. It's yours, Dest. I jumped and quickly stuffed the dress back in the closet. I turned around to see Alex, giving me a dimpled smile with his hands in his pockets. I hadn't even realized that HED walked in because I was too busy admiring the dress. Wait, it's mine, I questioned. He nodded. But what's this? He quickly asked, motioning his room, lacking any of my things. Now it was my turn to smile. Well, Since you've already done enough for me this past year, Rosal and Enwori thought that you do like your room back. So I saved you the work and already moved my stuff back into my room on the first floor, I explained, whilst clutching the dress delicately in my hands. But your real Christmas presents are downstairs. Aw, thanks, Dest, he said, pulling me into an awkward sigh hug, as my hands were full. His tall, lean frame against mine felt nice, and I had to resist inhaling his shirt for that familiar vanilla scent. I didn't know what kind of feeling this was, and even though I liked it, my wolf sure as hell didn't. Alrighty, well, I'm going to go redecorate my room now, I said. Alex let go and winked at me. See ya later, fetus. I elbowed him on my way out. I flopped onto my smaller bed, exhausted after moving everything around, but mainly singing my heart out to lame Christmas songs. I was sure the whole first floor had heard me, but whatever. Although my new room didn't have the gorgeous and huge window displaying the forest like Alex did, it was dangerously close to the kitchen, and I would happily choose food over a nice view any day. I closed the door and I finally stripped out of my ugly pajamas and tried the dress on. It was still as beautiful as ever, but not on me. My legs were awkwardly short. Definitely not made for this dress. The strapless part kept slipping since I was as flat as those pancakes from this morning, and my glasses weren't making me look any more decent. I was disappointed, because I'd been so excited to try it on the moment had laid my eyes on it, only to find out I looked like an 8-year-old wearing a fairy dress. After slipping it off and carefully hanging it in the back of my closet, I put on a pair of sweatpants and a crop top. I perched on the edge of my bed, not knowing what to do. I cowled and hung out with Fox because he was busy with Vivian. The twins were gone. Lucy was yet again out of the pack house. And Alex? Well, the poor guy needed his beauty sleep. So I sat there, feeling alone as ever. I hated it. I hated the fact that even though I had amazing friends here, it'd still be that uninteresting person at the end of the day. An eerie silence crept into the room as my mind fought to keep the memories away. But just like the silence, they came. I remembered my mom telling me that she'd come back for me the next day, with that same trusting smile. I remembered my dad staring at me, horrified, when I first transformed into a wolf. I remembered Dawn promising the 8-year-old me that I'd always be wanted by him, no matter what. I remembered 13-year-old Dawn coming in the middle of the night to wake me from my nightmares, and talk to me quietly until dawn. I remembered 16-year-old Dawn breaking his promise to me, and breaking me as a person again after all of the years of healing HED in me. Was I that unwanted? I was so weak. Moments later, heavy sobs ate up the silence, wiping my tears away. I told myself that I cowed and cry and be selfish. Other people had it much worse than me, and I needed to suck it up. I quickly rinsed my face with cold water and practiced a composed smile in the mirror. I left my room, past Fox and Vivian, who seemed more focused on each other than the tacky movie playing on the TV. I grabbed a cookie from the kitchen and dashed for the front door. I needed to clear my mind. I stepped outside, drinking in the fresh and cool air, and letting the crisp wine stroke my hair carelessly. I spotted a thick tree and quickly transformed, smiling at the satisfying feeling. As soon as my thick coat of dark crust color fur was on, I was on all fours and I just ran. The wind whipped against my face and my paws leapt onto fresh snow, leaving tracks behind. Forgetting everything for a while, I continued to run in the large, green forest. Chapter 16, Get You a Pineapple Right Now. The moment I had woken up and the sharp pain rose in my abdomen, I knew that Mother Nature had came for a visit. Early, there was no way I was going for deliveries today. I was still sprawled across my bed, but I curled into a fetal position, contemplating whether I should get my ass up and get the hot shower water first, or stay in my bed forever, although the latter sounded much more appealing. A few minutes later, I somehow managed to make it in the bathroom that connected to Rosal and Enrori's room. I lazily strolled into the shower, and as soon as the rays of steaming water caressed my body, I stood there breathing slowly, wishing I could just live in the shower for the rest of the week. My muscles relaxed a while later as I embraced the hot water, Destiny, yelled a voice on the other side of the bathroom door. I became stiff. Oh shit. The water is going to freeze. You've been in there forever, Rory yelled. I grimaced suddenly, noticing how the water was indeed inching away from its precious warmth. I quickly turned it off and patted myself dry, after shrugging on my sweatpants and a soft t-shirt, and then folding my wet auburn hair into a messy bun. I unlocked the bathroom doors and then made a run for it. Whilst praying for my life, I stealthily slipped out of my room before Rory could kill me. As I entered the kitchen, my nose was greeted by the sugary and waft-y smell of pancakes, and I knew they were made by Molly and Kevin just by their delectable smell. I saw Molly whisking the batter in a large lime green bowl, while Kevin was expertly flipping pancakes on the griddle. I was the first one in the kitchen so far and mentally cheered. I'll take for vanilla pancakes and 3 cinnamon ones with a glass of milk. Please, I declared. Kevin's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets, probably wondering how I was going to eat 7 pancakes. I was about to offer to help them, but decided against it when the cramps came back. I groaned and flopped onto a nearby sofa. Soon, a hot plate of delicious-looking pancakes rested in front of me, which I responsibly topped off with a dollop of whipped cream. I grabbed the shiny fork and was about to dig in when I heard shuffling behind me. It was Alex, looking at me expectantly, dangling a pair of keys between his lean fingers in front of my face. I gave him a what? Face. You're not coming today? He questioned, sweeping down beside me on the sofa. He eyed the stack of pancakes and then my gray sweats. He poked my stomach. That time of the month. I see. I elbowed him. Shut up, Alex. I snorted. But I knocked him off the sofa when I noticed my fork and a huge piece of my pancakes were gone. The fork was resting in Alex's hands. Don't freaking touch my pancakes, I snarled, snatching my fork back. Feisty. Today. He winked. Catch you later, Dast. Try not to kill anyone. He ruffled my hair and then strolled out of the kitchen chuckling. I could finally eat my breakfast in peace. The next week, as we were driving back from the final pack stop, I saw a small grocery store with its logo as a pineapple and I instantly smiled. Why are you smiling? Alex asked, furrowing his brows. I could feel his eyes on me, as the car was stopped at the red light. Okay, aside from the fact that I love pineapples, they just remind me of. I was about to say home, but lately, I was confused on what that word meant to me. My old pack. Pineapple just reminds me of the summers where we'd sit on the wooden porch and devour them fresh, while it was hot as hell. I smiled even more. Although I was in love with this winter wonderland, those blistering hot summer days would come back to me sometimes. Alex smiled, his dimples deepening as he spoke. I can just imagine you, guessed, with pineapple juice dribbling down your chin, and you not even noticing. I was about to argue and then realized it was true. Alex was way too observant of a person. I then remembered when Dominic would wipe it off my face for me. And one time, being the immature loser he was, he licked my cheek while he was still in wolf form. A pang of pain ran through me. Who was he going to eat pineapple with this summer? I cowled and imagined another girl in my place. It was just impossible and made me want to sink to the ground just thinking about it. Alex noticed that my smile had faltered and he quickly began talking again. What do you even like about pineapples? Don't kill me, Dest. But I never really liked them. I whacked his arm even though he was in the midst of driving. I mean, he was the most controlled driver I had ever known. Well, to be honest, I don't know. I think it's because when my mom was pregnant with me, she had a craving for pineapple like all the time. I chuckled, and then stopped, realizing that that was the first time I had ever mentioned my mom to Alex, or to anyone here for that matter. What if he got curious and wanted to know more? I cowled and just shut up. He was my best friend after all. Or what if he got mad at me because this was the first time I'd ever talked about her? I wasn't ready to tell anyone about my family yet. Even Amber or Arizona hadn't known about them. Well, in that case, I'd get you a pineapple right now. But 1, we live here and they would taste like shit. And 2, we have to get home before Alpha murders me. I almost hugged him right then and there. He was such a pure, good person. It didn't even bother him that I said anything about my mom for the first time ever. As we drove home in comfortable silence, I watched the sun set through the window as snowflakes began to drift lightly. I saw the gray marble mansion come into view, and Alex pulled up the truck to the back. He parked it, and before I got out, he placed a hand on my arm. "Hey, I just wanted to say thanks for trusting me with something about your family. I'm assuming it's something you rarely talk about. And even though it's a small thing, I'm glad you've opened up a bit more." He smiled, such a radiant smile that matched his green eyes, and it was so contagious. I flicked my finger against his cheek. "Shut up. I mean, I've known you for what? Like more than a year already." I should have said something earlier, but my sentence trailed off as my brain tried to search for the right words. But he filled in the silence softly, his faint smile and green eyes meeting my plain ones. "It's okay," and I knew he meant it. Months passed. Our books were read. Supplies were delivered. And then it was October 19th. My birthday. The twins said it would be no use surprising me, since everyone knew what was coming. So we agreed on having dinner at this fancy restaurant in downtown, with Fox, Vivian, who actually became a good friend over time, Lucy, and other wolves from the pack who became my friends. But since the twins told me I'd meet them there, I called and asked them what to wear. It had been 2 hours and I called and find something pretty enough for a decent 18th birthday look. Alex and I were going to drive over in an hour, since he was my only method of transportation. Yet I was fully ready. My hair was out in soft waves of dark auburn, brown curls, and my makeup was done. And I'd switched out my glasses for contact, but I was still standing in front of my closet for the 100th time. I was about to just wear some ugly sweater and say fuck it, but my eyes caught sight of a shimmery fabric. I pulled out the dress and gasped. It was the dress Alex had given me all those months ago as a Christmas present, and it looked prettier than ever. I sighed. Would I fit into it? I shuddered, remembering the last time I'd tried it on. It had barely fit me, due to the lack of my feminine curves. Though it was my last resort of looking remotely decent tonight, I quickly shuffled around in my closet for a strapless bra, and with all the hope in my heart, I pulled on the dress. I groaned at the zipper that wouldn't move up because I couldn't reach. I almost jumped in my black heels when there was a shrill knock at the door. "Guest, Death, are you ready?" Oh, it was Alex. "Wait, can you come in for a sec? I need help," I called out. I unlocked the door with one hand, while my other hand was still working at the fussy zipper. Alex walked in and closed the door behind him. He began laughing at my failed attempts to zip up the goddamn dress. I couldn't help but notice that he actually looked quite handsome. His golden brown hair was neatly brushed, and he had on a white, buttoned-up shirt with the sleeves rolled up, paired with a black bow tie, even though I wanted to stare a bit more at him. My arm was getting tired. "Help me out. You fucked," I sighed. He was still laughing softly but came over to where I stood in front of the mirror. He put one hand on my waist and then began zipping up the back of the dress with his other hand, his fingers gently brushing my bare skin as he pulled the zip up. We both looked at our reflections in the mirror, and I stared back at the girl who actually looked beautiful. The dress actually fit well, this time the strapless part not slipping off. It was slightly tight at my waist, then flared out by my thighs. My legs were thankfully a bit longer and made me look less awkward. I gazed back at my light brown eyes. Alex was staring too, and I noticed that his hand still lingered at my waist and that his slender fingers still touched the arch of my back from where he zipped up the dress. I looked at his mature green eyes through the mirror, and they looked so serious, gaping at me an unfamiliar look. It was the way he normally looked at me, with his playful grin and bright eyes, but it was something more. They were dark, and for once he was looking at me as if I was a woman, and maybe not an Emma, your best friend. It was scary but addicting. I didn't know what this was, but a part of me liked it. He suddenly shuddered, as if he broke out of his thoughts, and let go of me while his green eyes lightened. Whoa, wait. Oh, sorry. Guest, you just look really beautiful tonight, he commented softly, and I felt my cheeks burning. Thanks, I replied, smiling. For the first time since we'd met. We stood there awkwardly, but then we burst out laughing at the uncomfortable silence as we headed out the door. Who was I kidding? Alex and I were never awkward.